an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering One Piece, episodes 116, 117, and 118, in which Nami is granted a weapon by Usopp, and she does not even touch the instructions before in the middle of a battle. And so, Nami, frankly, it's your fault. Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
And I'm Florian. Hello.
Welcome back, Florian.
Yay.
So, I have to know, why these episodes? Tell me.
I actually wanted these questions, you to answer this time. Like, what do you think? Why? Like,
I think it's, you really like Usopp, if I remember? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I was feeling like it's not actually like an Usopp-centric story because he's not in it that much, but because he is the creator of the weapon, we do wind up seeing his face a lot. And I thought maybe that was the reason why, but I don't know.
Close. I mean, it is really just like all with Nami. Like,
just Nami. Okay.
I really, really like Usopp, but I really love Nami. So
okay, I'm sorry, Nami. I didn't even bring you into the equation. I was just pure Usopp over here. My man.
All the guys always getting the recognition of the.
Honestly, it's true. It's internalized misogyny, guys, in action. You just saw it. So for the. All right, so I started off the episode blaming Nami for not looking at the instructions. How do you feel about my assessment on that?
I can see that totally, but I wonder, we don't know when she gets the weapon. Like, maybe it is literally when they get off the ship. Like, okay, we go off to the desert. Oh, by the way, Nami, here you have this thing. And maybe then, they were focused on other stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, it's valid. But then who reads, not subscriptions, who reads, the manual of anything? You do?
I do, but that's because I am an obsessive in terms of, I want to know everything about something before I'm going to use it. And honestly, it's only ever worked to my benefit because I'll deal with people who've owned the same thing for years, and I'll be able to show them something they didn't know it could do because I read the thing and they never read it. Yeah. So that is just how I always operate. But I'm honestly not too surprised that Nami doesn't operate that way because she very much seems like a fly by the seat of her pants kind of girl. No offense, Nami. That's not an insult or anything. It's just who you are, girl. It's fine.
So what you're saying is you're better than the rest of us, but I get that.
It's not because it slows me down.
Yeah, at the beginning, but later when you know how it works, that's when the rest of us struggles and it slows us down there.
With this particular example, yeah, it's an advantage, but because of the overall personality type that goes along with that, it's not always an advantage to have this kind of obsessive personality. So I feel like it winds up evening out a little bit.
Probably.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this, but in Cradle, he gives somebody some criticism and says, you don't have to take one step and then stop and think about how that step went. You just have to walk and see how, and I am definitely the stop and think about how the step went. And Nami is certainly not like that. And neither is Usopp, God knows.
None of them is really. By the way, guys,
no.
read Cradle. I did it, and it was great. So,
yay!
And something else I wanted to mention real quick. It is not exactly a year, but about a year ago, you started One Piece.
Oh, really?
February. Yes.
I have it actually right up here if I click to see when the first episode was. Let me go check. Oh, yeah, Tuesday, February 23rd. Oh, boy! That's crazy. It does not feel like that long to me at all.
Mm.
The closest I'll get is February 18th, which will be almost like the closest to the exact year anniversary, but that's fun.
Yes.
Bernadette says, no, think about all the steps in advance before you even take any of the steps. Honestly, that is like slightly more true even. Yeah.
So, but before that, before Nami, we have also some Sanji and Mr. True.
Listen, Owen came home right at the start of this fight and sat down, having never seen Mr. Two. He hasn't gotten this far. The reaction was, it wasn't even that much of a reaction because he was like clearly he came in after Mr. Two had put the swan necks on his shoes. So I really feel like that pushed it over the edge in terms of literally what is going on here. I loved this fight so much. Oh my God, you guys, I loved it so much. There's a point where they're literally just breakdancing around each other. And it's like a full minute of them just going in a circle on handstands the entire time. And I desperately want them to do things like that on the live action. I really hope they do.
This is one of my also favorite Sanji fights. Like, no, I have to say another reason why I wanted these episodes to be a wannabe for me is this whole arc, like whole Arabasta, like this story is my favorite. Like I have multiple favorites, but this one is like nostalgia based favorite.
Gotcha.
You know, like,
yeah.
I know that later on there are better things like objectively, but like just I saw this when I was like preteen, and it just like blew me away.
I totally get what you mean. Yeah, there'll be things that you're like, look, I understand. Like if you really parse it, this doesn't hold up quite as well, but you have that connection with it. I have this with the C.S. Lewis books, like all of the Narnia books, where people will point out like the problematic elements, and I'm like, I get it, and you are not wrong. But I read them all very close together during a really like sort of peaceful, good time in my childhood. And so I just have this association with them of just like being curled up in my room during a snowstorm, reading and drinking tea. And it's like sometimes nostalgia, like, I mean, marketing knows this. It overwhelms us at times. It's fine. That's good, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start off this episode with the fight initiating and Sanji once again being unable to fight against Nami, because that is who Mr. Two keeps turning into. It takes a little while, but eventually Sanji realizes that Mr. Two can't utilize his technique, his kick technique. What does he call it again?
The ballet kempo.
Ballet kempo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ballet, of course, and kempo is like, you will see later Nami's fight, like she calls it tempo, and I feel like,
was that supposed to be like a pun?
I mean, in general, like I think in Japanese, like po or something means like fighting style, and kempo is like from, well, what Mr. Two is. What you talked about this with Gabriella in the last episode, you know.
Okay.
The Okama. And tempo is actually meant from, I think, the Spanish word. What's the Spanish word for weather? You know that?
Tiempo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and it
why...
wasn't Gabriella. Last episode was Ron, I think. But yeah, okay, so that makes sense.
Roy, sorry, not Gabriella.
Roy, thank you. Sorry, Roy.
I'm sorry, Roy. Oh my God, you guys, I had something to drink, so just so you know.
Well, I got her name wrong, so my bad. I'm sorry, Roy.
Roy said that, and yeah, that's why Nami's technique is tempo, because it's kind of like, and the name is Spanish based, you know, like from weather.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Because
okay.
A fun tidbit: Oda like assigned like countries to the different characters. and I feel like Usopp is like Brazil, like from Brazil, and Nami is kind of like from Spain, like if she would be in our world, you know. And yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that. That's interesting. So then where would Sanji be from?
I think Sanji is French.
Oh, and the food. That would make so much sense. I never put this together at all. Oh, my goodness. So then who's everybody else?
Zoro is Japan itself.
Okay.
Because his attacks are also based like on Japanese puns. Like they are food related. Zoro's, they're like always a double meaning with like food. But I don't know Japanese, so I cannot like really say you exactly. And Luffy's the only one that I'm missing right now. I don't know exactly where Luffy was.
Luffy ascended fully formed from the ocean itself. He does not belong to any country.
Yeah.
He's a force of nature.
Yeah. So we have the Sanji Mr. 2 fight. And yeah, what did you think like? Like, were you annoyed with Sanji or like, I mean, it's kind of expected.
Look, I wasn't annoyed with Sanji until the very end. First of all, the bit that he can't attack whenever Mr. 2 looks like Nami, I just find so good. It's so stupid, but I really like it because Sanji is such a badass so much of the time and so cool and collected. I like there being a thing that just reduces him to a puddle of total nonsense. Like I always like when there is a character who's very stoic and that they have one particular weakness. So I enjoy that anyway. And then that being exactly what Mr. 2 keeps taking advantage of. It's just very good. I really like it. I don't care that it's dumb. However, I will say at the end, when he has defeated Mr. 2 and he gives him a hand to lift him up, and Mr. 2 is like, this is what it's like between two rivals who respect each other. I really thought, oh my God, maybe Mr. 2 will become part of the crew. Oh my God, is this going to happen? And then he just kicks him in the head. It broke my little heart. I got so hopeful for just a second there. I really did. And then and like Mr. 2 isn't even mad. He's just kind of like, well, what are you going to do? And I was just like, I was glad that at least when Sanji walks away, we know for sure Mr. 2 isn't dead. Miss Doublefinger, on the other hand, I can't tell. It looks like she's pretty dead because of like her eyes are completely missing their irises, which feels like in this show when they do that, when somebody's like on the ground, that tends to mean the life has left their body, you know, and the irises are like sort of the shorthand for saying that. But I don't know. But I don't want to jump ahead too much. So, okay. But the thing that Sanji figures out with the fact that Mr. 2 can't use his fight style while he's transformed, I did not pick up on that at all. I was actually pretty impressed with Sanji for figuring that out because I genuinely had not noticed that, and I should have. But I just thought Mr. 2 stops and poses and whatnot when transformed because that's what gets Sanji to stop attacking. It didn't really occur to me like maybe he's doing that because he can't be like in attack mode himself when he does that. So there did come a moment where I wondered, Sanji's on the ground, not fighting back and not being willing to fight back. Why aren't you kicking the shit out of him while he's down? But then I was very willing to sort of like, well, because they draw things out in this cartoon and they have to like have these moments, you know? So I kind of like that there's that Achilles heel, I guess, to Mr. 2's attack. I feel like you have to have a little something, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, the reasoning behind it, I also think kind of makes sense. Like, he literally transforms his body and like, not anybody is like able to like perform the stunts that he's able to do.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. But yeah, you're going to take on like the same muscle mass as the person you're not necessarily going to be able to move the same ways, or that hadn't occurred to me. That makes sense. And okay, so he takes the swans off his shoulders, right? Because they're his epaulets up until this point. Guys.
I know one time you like ask like, does Oda like, and I ask myself this, does he first create the character and then he's like, okay, what of this is the weapon? Or do the weapons come first? And then he like, I don't know, but like this is just genius in my mind. Like
I can't. Like,
and he says like the right one is a male and the left one is the female or something like that. Like and Sanji's like, who the fuck cares? Like
I love that. Sanji just being like, I don't care. And then he comes at him. And like, not for nothing, guys, but in many ways, Mr. 2, not because of the like, we're going to juxtapose masculinity with femininity, but just objectively, his costume is one of the most ridiculous in the show. And then you take those off the epaulets and put them on his tippy toes, and it just takes it to another level of ridiculous that I didn't think we could reach. I thought we were there already, and we just went ahead and made it even more intense. And the kicks, when he uses these, he hits the wall with this perfect like round hole without cracking it or anything. And Sanji is like, what the fuck? How is that so focused? And Mr. 2 says something like, you should really interpret this as like a gunshot. That's the power with which I am going to kick you. So later, Sanji gets like shot in the chest is kind of what happens. He's fine. You know, it doesn't seem to, they both go down, but they both are able to get back up shortly after. But yeah, this being because of Swan Lake, guys, the whole Swan Lake and ballet thing, if you are not already on TikTok, first of all, get your life together. TikTok is one of the happiest places on earth. It doesn't have to be if you go on the wrong sorts of shit and your algorithm gets all fucked up with bad things. But my algorithm is all amazing comedy, anti-capitalism, and pets. So it's the best. And there is a professional ballet dancer on there that has been popping up for me who is currently doing Prawn Lake instead of Swan Lake. And she is dressed in a full shrimp prawn costume with like the tentacles and the legs and everything.
I just wanted to say, like, this reminds me of prongs, you know, like this.
Oh my God.
Our old unspoiled meme, you know.
Guys, get into the prongs stuff with Harry Potter if you haven't already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like even Prawn Lake, once you put the swan epaulets on his toes, he's even more ridiculous looking than that. But they seem pretty powerful as weapons, you know? Like, sometimes, do you remember was it Mr. Pearl? What was the name of the guy who's like a pearl that has like some of the worst, lamest weapons?
Yeah, Pearl. Like, it's just Pearl. Yeah.
He sucked.
Yeah.
He had very showy stuff, and it was all kind of like, really? But this is very showy and also effective, so I can't be mad at it. Perfect complements of practicality and, I don't want to say beauty, but at least strong aesthetic choices.
Yeah, and maybe elegance. Not beauty, but maybe some kind of elegance is there.
Okay. Yeah, I could say.
Yeah, so
Bernadette says we roasted the fuck out of this dude, Pearl. Yeah.
Yeah, he deserved it. Right.
100%.
Yeah, but that's pretty much this fight. I mean, as you said, like, Sanji wins, like they have like a kick-off, fight-off, again, which is amazing, animated. And yeah, I think when Sanji walks away, then he says something like, "I broke some bones or broke some ribs," something like that.
Yeah.
So he definitely took some damage from that.
Yeah, like it's acknowledged that he got injured, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him too badly at the moment. Which sort of like the show does this where they'll be like, we're going to pretend this injury doesn't exist until we need to acknowledge it because we want the character to be disabled in this scene somehow, you know? So I kind of feel like maybe this will be a problem later on for Sanji, but right now it doesn't look like it. Versus Usopp, who is a mummy.
Is a mummy. Yeah, we see some Usopp and Chopper interactions also in the episode. He is like bandaging up Usopp and he's like, "Oh yeah, your blood pressure is just like a zombie's, but that's fine." And like he's like saying all those things, but it's all good. It's like all
guys. The thing that brings Usopp back to life is that Chopper admits that he took the last like sweet bun or something. What is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know. It's like a Japanese snack. I feel like a sweet snack, but I don't know really what it is, to be honest.
I have never related to Usopp more in my life. If you want to get me to come back from the brink of death, be like, "Oh, I actually like took the last one of these of a thing that I made or that I really like." Anything where you have like encroached on my food territory, that will get wide awake. Just completely would work. And I love this so much because the whole scene with Usopp being like, "I'm dying. None of us can escape the cold clutches of death."
I'm not completely sure, but I think it's a callback here also, at least in the subtitle. Well, I mean, where I watched it, is like he says like something. He sees like a field of flowers. And
yes,
and that's the thing that he said when he was with Vivi in the Snow Kingdom, and she pulls him out of the snow. He's also like dying, and he's like, "Oh, I see a beautiful field of flowers." So he says the same thing here.
I didn't even put that together, but that makes total sense. Okay. Bernadette says, "Hear me out. Usopp is the most relatable character because he is the only one with sensible reactions to any situation." You know, that is kind of true. Like, even though it gets tiresome to have him react with extreme fear to everything, I also would probably react with extreme fear to everything. So that's all right. You got that one, Bernadette. I'll give you that. And I really enjoyed too when he's making this speech. The music doesn't get like too emotional. You know how music can they can try to manipulate you with it. So it's just like these like these strings in the background to make you feel like you're like heartbroken. And they don't do that in that scene. They have like comedic music throughout the whole background of it. And sometimes leaning into the overdramatic music for the joke works really well. But I really liked that they didn't do that this time because we know that Usopp's not actually dying. Like, nobody's going to think he's dying here. So it's the show being like, yeah, we're all aware that's not what's happening. So this is hilarious. I was like, all right, good. Yes, I like this a lot. And he winds up just like decking Chopper and taking the sweet bun and being like, this is mine.
Yeah.
After everything Chopper did for you, sir.
I rewatched this like dubbed and like also, and I'm not sure in the dub that I had, he says like "my precious."
Yes.
And I was like, is this a Lord of the Rings thing happening here? Like a reference?
I didn't like. I'm so used to that I didn't even think about it being a reference because but I think it is specifically a reference. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you want to do this? I think we have like 3 big chunks here. Like we have the Sanji fight, the Nami fight, and then some stuff with Vivi. Like,
how about we finish with Usopp and Chopper, because they like meet up with Sanji.
Yeah, Sanji comes up, and the camel too, eyelashes, or no, just lashes. Eyelashes?
It's eyelash in the dub,
eyelash.
but it's lashes in the subtitle.
Yeah. So yeah. But they're like, where the fuck have you been? And he's like, I'm a camel. What do you want? Like,
honestly. What is he gonna do, guys? He got out of the fucking way and stayed alive so that he could be useful right now, and you should thank him for it.
Totally.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So they team up basically, or group up, and Sanji brings back the goggles of Usopp that are broke,
right.
And they go back into the city. We don't know actually what to do, but probably to like get to Vivi or like save. Like getting to help her.
Right, yeah.
Guess. I mean, what else are going to do? Like in a coffee shop and wait till everything is over? Like...
Oh man, yeah. I assumed that it was just like we're gonna find one of the rest of our team,
yeah, or like
and begin to like regroup.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
And I do really like too that eyelash, because reminder, eyelash is a pervert. And does not really like dudes riding on him. Just doesn't give a shit that Usopp is completely wrapped in bandages and is making it really hard for Usopp to climb on his back. And I don't know why, but I found that really funny. Usopp's like, can't you see the bandages? I'm injured. Stop it. And Eyelash is like, literally don't care.
Bye.
So, all right. So do you want to go next to Vivi? Or do you want to do Nami? And then Vivi? How do you want to do it?
I would do Nami first.
Okay.
I feel like.
Okay.
So that's what I want to talk about. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So Nami's hiding. Like, we have like a brief sequence also with like Zoro protecting Nami. That's something that like happens because Mr. One is like had enough of this chase and he's just like, okay, I will jump onto you and cut you and slice you, basically.
We didn't know what Mr. One's power was until this, did we?
No. What are your thoughts?
It's as boring as he is. His power is just right for him because he is so boring. And it's such a boring power. I can just make my body blades. I guess. Fine.
Same. I cannot like he's literally just like a tool, like in every sense of the word.
Yep. Oh my god, totally. That's funny. And I really am insulted about him going up against Zoro. I'm just like, come on, this is not like. He may actually be a match in terms of the fight, but Zoro is just so much fun, and he is so not. And I'm like, this is. I just keep thinking about Mr. 2 being like, I'm so much fun. Why do I have to work with all of you unfun people? And I'm like, that's the question.
Like Mr. 2, like kind of got like all the personality or like fun of like Baroque works, and it's like. Okay.
Yep.
So I totally get that you want him to join. I
really do. I still I know that won't happen, but I really want it.
Yeah, I re-listened, I don't know, I think it was after Nami's arc, like after they leave her home. You said something like, because we were asking you like who you think they could like need on the ship, or like who could join them, and you actually said something like a shapeshifter would be great for the crew, like
did I?
Yeah, because you said something for infiltration and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And we were like in the chat like, well, we get a shapeshifter, Chopper is kind of a shapeshifter. I don't think like that's what you.
That's true too. I didn't really think of it that way, but that's true.
But we were like, we were like talking about it, and we were like, there will be another shapeshifter here. Maybe we were kind of concerned how you would take it, but I feel like you and Roy talked a lot about Mr. Two, and fairly so.
Yeah.
And I feel like Roy also has more insight in that area than I do. So I'm
just really like, I had this slight spoilers for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. If any of you have not watched that entire show, it's excellent and I highly recommend it. But that was something else commissioned for Spoil Me. And there is a character who's like kind of a bitch that shows up, and she's sort of an enemy, but I liked her even though she was kind of awful. And I was like, I just want them to like be friends. I know that won't happen, and they become friends. It's against all odds, like seasons later, and she becomes kind of like the friend who's also kind of shitty, but like she's trying to be better, you know? So I still hold out for Mr. Two's rehabilitation. Like, I just, in my heart, want, if we're not going to have him join up now, can we have him like reappear at some later date, since he's not actually dead, at least? We have a lot of the villains show back up after time has passed. So I'm just at least hoping that we get to see him again. But I don't know about whether or not, because his whole thing is like, you may as well kill me because Baroque Works is going to kill me anyway. I hope he's just wrong about that. Or that maybe, can he just leave Baroque Works? I mean, Baroque Works, we're just hoping, I guess, falls apart by the end of this arc. That's the goal, right? I guess.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So that's my hope.
Good. So Mr. One and Sorogo at it. We don't see a whole lot of it. Do you? Yeah, no, I will ask this later. Do you? Next thing we see is like Nami hiding, basically, like somewhere in the back streets, and we get a flashback.
Yeah.
Her thinking about what she asked Usopp. What do you think of this whole thing?
I have really mixed feelings on it, because I think that this is interesting enough that it shouldn't have been a flashback that got like wedged in. Mm-hmm. I think this deserved enough time being spent on it. I understand wanting to have it be a surprise that she has the weapon, but I think that it's more interesting for what the weapon can do to be a surprise, and we'll know she has it, but we aren't sure what it can do. And I feel like that still makes it sort of like tense, you know, because you're not certain how it's going to pan out for her. Because like the whole question about struggling with the fact that everybody around you has superpowers and you two are the only ones who don't really, is that's like a legitimate thing. And it makes sense that she would be really struggling with it, because as she puts it, I just want to not be a danger to everybody else. And that's a really good way to put it. It's not even like I want to keep up with them. It's, I need to at least be able to defend myself enough that they are not constantly trying to save me. And I really liked that point of view. And I like the fact that Usopp is like willing to help her out. But I wanted to see more about like, I just wanted to, I wish that we had gotten a little bit more time with that and like time talking about it. So, especially considering, and this always sort of like is surprising to me when there's a storyline in this show that I feel like is a little bit rushed when everything else is so drawn out. So I'm just kind of like, well, it's not like we didn't have the time. You could have, you know. But overall, like the sentiment behind it, I completely understand and agree with, and I think I would feel the exact same way. I am somebody who really struggles with not being as good as everyone else if I'm on a team of people and feeling like I'm a liability. I've had that in a couple different like jobs where I was not as good at whatever I did. And it's a really awful feeling, you know, and you feel like people can tell you as many times as they want that you'll get better at it. It's just practice. Don't worry. We don't mind teaching you. It doesn't matter. You still feel like a dead weight.
Yeah, no, I get
yeah. And like she jumps at one point because a bunch of poles fall over on one side of the street, and it does turn out that there is somebody there, but it's not, she's just kind of like, I can't believe that I'm about to hit the ceiling just like because a noise happened behind me. And I was like, I'm not really mad at you, girl. These people are crazy. Who knows what's out there right now?
They are cray,
Mm-hmm.
Keep your distance.
So this
Miss
this is Miss Doublefinger, who it turns out has the spike fruit.
Yes, the spike fruit.
What is Mr. One's is the dice fruit?
Yeah.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, dice fruit.
Okay.
I feel like as far as I know, in the Japanese versions, the names are often, like the name of the fruit has often also to do with the sound. Like basically when you would write down the sound that would a sword make, so that's basically the name of it.
Oh, okay.
So it sometimes works out, sometimes not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I was just thinking about how like chop fruit is already taken, and that would kind of be a better name, but it's too late. Buggy's got that one, so
yeah. What do you think of her powers? Like,
I think it's pretty rad. I like, now that I know what her power is, her costume makes slightly more sense as well. Because, first of all, if you're constantly making spikes out of yourself, you're gonna shred your clothing. That's just a practical aspect. So you may as well wear as little as you can. But also, if she's constantly real spiky and sort of like threatening looking in this way, the dominatrix aesthetic with that makes complete and total sense. There is a point later where she just makes her like shoes have points that come out, so she's like really tall and on these like spike points.
Yeah, like still, I love that. That's like,
it was super fun.
Like when
as soon as she did that, I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, really. Or like when she's like on the ceiling, kind of,
Yes, and she's like made
awesome.
Cleats.
That's like also awesome. So I like her powers too. And by the way, about the shredding, like, because in this episode, I feel like we see at some point, like she grows like she turns into a ball of spikes, like.
Right. But her pants are fine.
Yeah, but people ask like Oda, why don't her clothes rip off? And his answer is like, because One Piece isn't a porno, and that's that.
I mean, that's
like,
fair.
I'm totally like, yeah, that's totally fair. Like realism only so far, like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't see a lot of people asking that question about Buggy's clothes when pieces of him fall apart. So it's very interesting that nobody had a problem with that. But
Totally
whatever,
true.
That's none of my business. The thing though that I actually, now that you bring this up, I had forgotten. You know how there's like a little like rating warning at the beginning of episodes now where they'll tell you like vulgar language or smoking or whatever. This one had a warning for self-harm and nudity. I don't really see it. Like, the self-harm, is that just people fighting? Does that count as self-harm? Because it's not like anybody's out here, like, being masochistic or killing themselves. There's nothing like that. It's just fighting and people being willing to, like, get injured in a fight. So I found that to be a really weird choice of words for that.
I maybe have the answer to both those points, like when they show up. Like we can go through the fight and I will like tell you maybe where I think this fits in. But
okay.
But I also agree with you. It's like not that bad that I feel like it needs a warning beforehand ever. So
yeah, like the one time that I could see it was like Nami getting out of her clothes.
Yes,
and like
that was the one that.
But she's clothed though.
Yes,
like
yeah. like, sexy, and that's too much,
That was so funny.
Yeah. So Nami takes out her weapon. It's like, haha, you will get. What does she say? Like I don't know what she says. Like she makes like a pun or something.
Yeah. And she's holding each of the parts between her fingers in a way that, like, once you know what the weapon actually is and how you, like, put it together, it's really weird that she's holding it this way, like it's Wolverine claws or something. But
cool fighting pose, I guess.
I guess, but they get knocked out of her hand, like, right away.
Yeah.
Honestly. This whole thing is so embarrassing. Like... Nami, I love you, girl, but damn.
Yeah, I feel like Miss Doublefinger also says at one point, like, poor girl or something, like really like hitting her, like, oh no, like, and I feel like Miss Doublefinger, like, she's the part of Mr. One, so she is capable, but I feel like she just underestimates Nami so much, and that's also like her downfall at this point. She does not make like quick business with Nami, she's kind of like holding back because she feels bad apparently, which I cannot blame her. Like she's like, girl, like,
yeah, it's a weird combo because like she is underestimating her as it turns out in the end, but she's not underestimating her for like 80% of the fight.
Yeah,
80% of it, she's literally standing still going, attack me. And Nami's like, yeah, I will. And then it's just nothing.
No,
and
it's birds flying out, like the doves.
The doves. We've got a bunch of flowers that come out of the end of like a rifle. What was the other one? The
boxing glove. Comes like
boxing. Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of. Oh my god!
Which the only one I'm like, okay, maybe if she would be like standing right in front of you, depending on how, maybe that could have worked. But she was like too far away. I mean, not super far away, but just like
yeah. And I wonder how much force was packed into that boxing glove because I could see it just being like a soft pillow kind of thing,
What was that?
Yeah.
Maybe it was, oh my god, maybe the glove is just like filled like air, like Usopp's huge hammer basically.
Oh my god, yeah, like it's paper or something.
Yeah, like, oh my god. Yeah, so they, let's just talk about the weapon. Like,
okay.
What do you, was this like too much? Was this like,
I don't know what to make of this weapon in any way. It feels like it's not so much a weapon as like a portal to a closet full of random stuff. Because it does all these different things that make no sense together. There's no reason that any of that would like fit inside of this tube, this little tube. The weather aspect that it turns out is like the thing that Nami learns to use with like, we're going to have a cool ball and a heat ball. I'm sorry, kids. Don't work for me. Like, it's all well and good, and I'm not mad at it because it's like at least interesting. It's, and that will, with this show, it can be absurd, but as long as it's interesting, I'm still here for it,
Same.
But I don't get it at all.
And I feel like that's totally okay, and we can just roll with it. Like, I hope you can just this kind of thing that we accept. Like, wow, oh, okay. And glad that you said interesting, because I said it before, I like Zoro. I like Zoro really. But he's just not so interesting to me in terms of like his fighting, and, like, because sword fights are like, we have seen that so many times.
Yeah,
like, true. And with Nami, it's kind of like, okay, I want to see what, like, it's not a fighting style basically that is like, I don't have seen that. Like, even in other things where you have like in the X-Men you have Storm, I also find it super interesting what she can do. And yeah, I'm just mostly not here for people that like can cut or super strong punches. That's just
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah. So
Boring.
that's
Been there, seen that.
yeah. So
Mhm.
with that, like I always found Nami when she. I mean, I'm going to ask you this: do you think this is like a one-off thing, and we will never see this weapon again? Or
Yeah. Kind of. I don't know. It's one of those things that it seems like there are so many different things it can do that it could be you just bring it back and it can always do a new thing. And that would feel like it was within what they've set up here with it, that it's kind of got like unlimited weird uses. But then there's that thing that he says about the was it the tornado at the end, and he's like basically like you get one shot, and if you don't get it right, it's all over, which makes it sound like if you use this function, the weapon is destroyed by it. I don't think that's what he meant, but it sort of sounded kind of like this is its self-destruct / bomb mode.
Yeah, I feel like that was like specific to this attack. Like you can use this attack once, you know, like the cool ball and heat ball, you can like reproduce, but this is like a one-time chance. And the other thing is, Usopp made this weapon, so even if it is destroyed, why couldn't he maybe make another one? You know,
right?
So
yeah,
there's that. And what I else wanted to say. I found this out, and to me it makes so much sense. I was Googling something about One Piece because I wanted to know something. I'm not going to say explicitly what, but it had to do with physics. And then I found out somebody asked, like, Oda, what are the physics of this world? And his answer was, they are dream physics. And I feel like that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because in a dream, it's kind of like everything it is kind of right, but it also can be slightly off. But it basically has some kind of reality to it. Mostly.
Right.
Like, I mean, of course, there are dreams that are totally banana pants. But for me, like to say something has dream physics, like a world has dream physics, is like, I know what he means by that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting, like, because like you said, dreams, you can like, I have this a lot, and I don't know if you guys ever have this. People talk about dreams where you can fly, and it's like my subconscious is not willing to let me do something so completely out of the question. So anytime that I have a, quote, flying dream, I can like float about 3 feet off the ground. And that's about how much I'm allowed in my dream. And I'll be like on my stomach, like a Superman pose, but only 3 feet off the ground and like not moving or anything, just like floating. And I'll be like, I go higher than this? Is this it? And that's like it. I don't think I've had one dream where I was straight up flying. So it's like, even in your subconscious, there are limits imposed on certain things. And then there's other stuff that it's like, oh yeah, that I opened a door and suddenly I was in a whole other place, and it doesn't like really make sense, but it also does, strangely. So, okay, I accept that. That's interesting. Huh. It's too bad though, because like if you had a character that really functioned according to dream physics, where anything that they sort of thought of became a thing, that would be kind of fun, you know?
That would be really cool, yes.
I would be interested in seeing that. The think fruit.
I would not the dream fruit.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then the dream fruit sounds for me like you make a dream for the other people. Okay, like you put them into a mirage sort of thing. But still, either way, like, yeah, all right. Either way, we could have both. Why not?
Would be good. I could see that, yeah.
We could have the dream fruit versus the think fruit. and one of them plunges the other person into a dream, and then the person that they're up against can use dream logic to make their weapons or something. And that'd be, I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just
rewrite a fanfic.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's where I'm going with it.
I feel like we have not really talked about the fight, but I mean, we have the introduction of the weapon. Nami trying to figure it out. She takes her. I mean, I like that. Like she takes her clothes off, but it is kind of like she does it like to protect herself.
Yeah,
you know that
was actually really smart. She's being like borne down on by Miss Doublefinger in her like anemone, sea anemone. Is that right? Sea urchin. Is it sea urchin pose? Do you remember the one? You don't remember? It's when she's like all like a big spike ball.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I don't know what you're trying to say.
I think it was sea urchin was the name of the attack. That's what she calls it.
Okay, I don't know. I don't remember that. Sorry.
I can't remember if that's what it is, but I think so.
In my head, no, wait. This is when she turns her hair into stingers. She says
right.
hedgehog something. I feel like.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. But yeah,
like Nami wraps her in her like cloak thing that she's wearing, her robe, and she gets sort of tangled in it. And I was like, that wouldn't really have occurred to me to do. And that's a very effective way to handle somebody who can like punch through stuff, is to give them something that's kind of flexible and frustrating to break through because it's not hard and brittle. And basically, Miss Doublefinger has to transform back into herself to get out of it. Like, it was pretty effective. I was sort of impressed with that idea.
Yeah, and I feel like this is I feel that's the moment where she kind of takes Nami more serious, because she says something like, "Oh, I think she has some fighting experience." Like she says something like that, and she walks out. Nami's there like a fool, standing with the back to her, and gets stabbed.
Nami keeps staying around. And this is this was the main thing that bothered me, is that she is setting up all of these things, which are very effective, if you distract your opponent so that you can attack them from behind, or you distract your opponent so that you can run away. But Nami just distracts her more than once while literally standing like 4 feet behind her. And the attack that Miss Doublefinger has just done on the Mirage version, because that's what it turns out to be, and they got me. When she stabs Nami, I was like, what? And then she begins to fade away, and I was like, oh, okay. But if what had happened was Miss Doublefinger attacks Nami, and she goes so hard thinking that Nami's actually there, that when Nami isn't there, she like embeds herself in the wall and can't escape, and she's at a disadvantage, it would feel like more acceptable that Nami is standing right behind her, sort of like smug about it. But that's not what's happening. She's just able to like stop and go, wait, what's going on? And she's still fully freed to attack again. So Nami being like, hey, I'm like, girl, don't know. One successful distraction is not enough for you to be feeling yourself over. It's just not. You can't yet. It's fine. It's good for you. You're figuring things out, and I'm happy for you. But also, there's a reason that you use distraction, and you're not utilizing that. It's not just to like, gotcha. That's not all it's supposed to be. So I just wanted to see her attempt to sneak up on her and do something while her back was turned, you know?
That is totally fair. And yeah, I was like, because I feel like this is kind of where this episode ends, because Nami's like, oh, I figured this weapon out. And as far as I know, the next episode not starts, but next time we cut to them in the next episode, Nami's running away again. She's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was just like, girl, that's what you get. Like,
Yep. Like, and I have no problem with running away, you know, like as far as I'm concerned, if you can keep running away that's the whole thing that everybody was trying to do at the beginning of this like encounter with all of the Baroque works, was they were trying to separate the Baroque works people from one another by running into different directions in the city so that they could create confusion. And, you know, like, so I have no problem with running in order to continue to distract Miss Doublefinger. So, because it does help. Zoro is fighting only Mr. One. If he was fighting both of them, it would probably be a problem for him. So just creating a distraction is helpful in its own way, but it just doesn't feel like it feels like she's acting as if now that she's proven that she can do one or two things, Miss Doublefinger is gonna like be intimidated enough to back off or something. And I'm just like, well, all you're doing really is proving that the longer you stay alive, the more dangerous you are, because you're continuing to figure this out.
Yeah, I chalk it up to Nami's smugness, like that she's like really, for that moment, be like, haha, and then like her brain kicks back in and is like, oh wait, I what now?
Right. So. That is a thing that I can understand. Like, you know how they have this whole thing with serial killers where they kind of want to get caught,
yes,
because they want everybody to know that it was them. And then, you know, and as somebody who wants credit on shit, that is like a mindset that I unfortunately can understand. It's awful, but I am, I can see falling for that. That's the pride thing, I guess, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the kind of thing with like revenge, like you need to know the person that you did that, you know, otherwise it's not like, doesn't feel the same.
Exactly, right?
Even though you sometimes are better off with shutting your mouth and let them think that it was the boss's idea or not your idea, that you said the boss that maybe this is your thing that you should do. And I'm talking out of experience, maybe. So, but this, I think, like we get like the first attack of Nami, like where she flings Miss Doublefinger away into like some barrels, by creating like this air current.
Yeah.
On the spot, which like in the manual is Usopp like, yeah, it's great for party tricks or like something like that.
He keeps saying that, and she keeps reading the instruction and like going ahead and trying whatever it says without continuing to read like the purpose that it actually serves. And again, Nami, look, I don't like, it looks like he gave you this weapon after you got off the ship. And you guys have been going through the desert with nothing better to do for like a week. You could have pulled this out for some light reading at any time. That's on you. You know, that's on you, girl. True. What can you do? And also the fact that she can like summon weather in this place feels like that could potentially be something that could save if Usopp can make a bigger version of like a weather machine, that could be very helpful to these desert dwelling people. So I'm just sort of putting that in my thought box, so to speak, for later.
True.
That's what I call it. My thought box.
What was in Sherlock? The Mind Castle?
Yeah. Mind Palace.
Mind Palace. Yeah.
Yep.
Mind Palace. Mind your business palace. Oh, that's why I always send people I don't like.
I like it.
Even though it should be a dungeon for them, but okay.
So you're a gracious, angry host. Still nice, even when you're like, fuck you, but you're treating them as a gracious host.
So so Nami, this is like really when she figures it out with like the three balls, the heat ball, the cool ball, and the thunder ball. I feel like it's called.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And first time she uses it, of course, Miss Doublefinger is like, oh, I love this. She's like, oh, it's cool. Oh, it's warm. And then the last one is like, oh, it's like fizzy or something.
Oh, it tingles.
It tingles. And she's like, motherfucking Usopp.
I genuinely was also like, what is this? What purpose does any of this serve? I don't get it.
Yeah, but what it does, this is like I love this. I just do. She creates a cloud, a small cloud, and makes it bigger and bigger. And then at the very end, she sends the thunderbolt into it, and it turns into a thundercloud. Who would know, like, that would work? And to be honest, first time I'm watching this, I was like, okay, Miss Doublefinger is done. Like, I was like,
oh, okay.
I was like, has to be like it for her. Like, I was like, again, as I said, I was like a preteen, and I was like, okay, the thunder thing is like death. But then again, as I got older, apparently a lot of people survive thunder, like when they get struck by thunder.
When they get struck by lightning, it is. Lightning. I like knew somebody who was friends with a person who got struck, and that person was able to like get up and walk around afterwards. That's not to say that there are not extensive internal injuries that begin to like become apparent after the fact. But initially, you would really think somebody would at the very least be knocked unconscious. And that's not necessarily what happens, which is crazy to me.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Same. And yeah, what did you think? Like, you didn't think that she was knocked out from that one attack?
I didn't, but I expected more to happen to her, because basically she gets electrocuted in a very sort of like Looney Tunes way, where she's just like frozen in place yelling and her hair is sticking out, but then when it's over, she's still standing and she says to Nami, like, you're dead, basically. And I was like, really? Like, bitch, you just got fried for like a full 10 seconds. I can't believe you're still standing up. And, you know, this also is like the moment where she really is like, oh, okay, I can't be treating you with kid gloves anymore, because obviously you're figuring some shit out and we can't have that. But I do enjoy, like, I wasn't a huge fan of the mirage thing with Nami being able to like create illusions of herself. It's fine, but I did feel like that doesn't seem like a weather thing that you could pull off in a small air. Like, you know what I mean? The thundercloud thing feels much more reasonable to be able to do with like what it is that she's working with these weird balls. So, yeah.
What I want to say, this actually, Nami's kind of weapon, let's say, has been foreshadowed when she gets introduced at the beginning. This is with Buggy, not with Buggy. I don't know if you remember, but she kind of like steals a ship from Buggy's people.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And she's kind of like, bye bitches. And they are left on her boat. Like, she basically make a switcheroo with their boat. And then the both of these guys get like struck by a lightning, because she's like, oh, it looks like a storm is coming up. And I feel like this is like maybe it's a reach, but I feel like this is kind of like a foreshadow thing where Oda is like, yeah, Nami knows her around with weather. Of course, she's also the navigator, so.
Yeah, I like that. I never really thought about that connection, but that really works.
I mean, it's just a thing that it's in my head, and it's never like said or anything by Oda that this is like something that he connected that way, but I connected in my brain, so.
Yeah. No, I accept it. Head canon accepted.
Yeah.
As they say.
Yeah, and then this is the other thing now that you said, like the self-harm part comes up here, I feel like. Because Nami creates another mirage, gets attacked basically, and then Miss Doublefinger attacks the real Nami, and with the hair again. And Nami basically stops her with the Climatect. By the way, I love the name of the weapon, the Climatect.
Yeah.
But also her foot. And I feel like maybe this is the self-harm thing.
Oh, okay. I could see that, because she's basically like, it doesn't matter if I lose a leg or an arm. Like what Nami or what Vivi is going through is always going to be worse. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I accept that. Because I genuinely was like, when is that even happening? Like, you know, it would be more understandable to me if they were like, content warning, crucifixion, which is happening, by the way, which is fucked up, everybody.
Yes.
I was not ready for that at all.
We will come to that right after. Because basically what happens... Did you think this was another joke attack of Usopp? Like, because those birds, not the real birds, but first come flying out, like those birds.
Oh, I didn't, because, like, honestly, when the birds first come flying out, I thought, like, the very, very first time, I was still holding out hope that, okay, it looks ridiculous, but maybe these birds actually do something, like, wait for it, kind of thing. Like, they're exploding birds, you know, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then they don't do anything. And I was like, oh, damn it. So then when we see the birds again later, I was like, aha, they do something. I was right to be like, to have a little bit of faith in that. So yeah, I completely approve of that sort of coming full circle and turning around. Same.
And what I also like about this fight, by the way, like always when you hear Usopp talking, because we hear him like talking in the background or like, you always see like, the birds also. It's kind of like
I didn't even notice that. Okay.
It's kind of the thing like Nami is alone in this fight, but Usopp or like these birds are with her, you know, and he's like kind of, even though he's not always helping, basically he's like there.
Oh my God, true.
And yeah, then the final attack happens and Tornado Tempo
sends her through 2 or 3 walls.
Yeah, I feel like I think it's 4, to be honest.
Is it?
It is like wow. 2, she flies through 2 rows of buildings. So like,
oh, okay. Shit.
So it would be 4, I feel like, you know.
That is so embarrassing.
Yes.
Damn, Miss Doublefinger. That is like, get it together. Yikes.
Yeah.
And honestly, as cool as Miss Doublefinger's power is, she's real sloppy with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like she'll just come like head first at Nami, but not look. And Nami, rightfully, just literally takes 1 step left. And that's all it takes. And Miss Doublefinger goes right through a fucking building. And she's out for like, 3 or 4 seconds because she's dazed because she did this. And I'm like, you really just don't stop and aim super well, lady. Like, if somebody can just step to the left and be completely out of your damage zone, and you're only as fast as you can run, that's not like, you've got to keep your eye on the target the whole time then, so that you can adjust with them. But she doesn't do that. She's like looking at the ground as she like barrels forward like a rhinoceros, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, she goes through 4 walls. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
She looks dead. Is she dead? I know you really can't tell me, but also, like, tell me. Is she dead?
I won't.
Ah! Damn it.
Damn it, I have to keep watching. No. You poor human being, you. I just like this fight, as I said. I mean, I think I have said everything I wanted to say. Just
about that one.
Yeah, it's really like
okay.
This is an episode, or these 2 episodes is like something that I can go back and rewatch. It's just like, as I said at the beginning, the nostalgia feel. And I mean, I'm a queer kid, you know, so like strong woman, I'm always like drawn to, and I like these 2 bitches are fighting it out in the back alley. I'm totally here for that, you know. Like,
yeah, I get that. One of them was looking like a dominatrix, and the other one is dressed like a belly dancer. Tough to go wrong on that as well.
Yeah. So the last part we have is Vivi.
Yes.
And this whole thing. What were your thoughts? Like, first off, the blowing up the palace kind of idea.
It's guys, I don't want to just keep talking about the fucking staircase, but honestly, it turns out the only reason that she wants to blow the palace up is to get attention. That's it. She literally is like, everybody will stop doing what they're doing and look at the palace as it explodes or caves in or whatever, however it'll happen. And then they'll listen. Girl, you could have just stood on the stairs in the first place and you wouldn't have had to try to like completely sink your entire building. It didn't have to be this way, Vivi. It didn't. You did, it's like the pandemic. If we had all just actually handled it properly in the first place, we wouldn't be dealing with the shit that we are right now. But because we were sloppy and thoughtless, now we have, no teachers because everybody has COVID and kids are still having to go to school, but they're being taught by the National Guard. Like, that's happening here. I don't know if you guys are having this issue where you are, but
well, as it actually is, I'm becoming a teacher. Like, this is what I'm studying for right now.
Oh, right on.
And that we got an email like, like everybody from the school got an email like, yeah, we know you're not like basically finished, but we really could use some teachers right now. So
wow.
if you want to come in, you can come. We would appreciate that, and we would actually get paid for it. So yeah, they're trying to do it that way here.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're having National Guard come in, like people with no teaching training in some areas, and another one had cops.
Oh, okay.
Armed cops in just don't get me started. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even have brought it up. It's my fault. But
okay, no, not here. It's calmer apparently, but shit.
So I just don't think here I have two like conflicting things. Is one, because this is a cartoon and they can sort of make whatever they want work, I could see it actually being successful to get everybody's attention in this way. But practically speaking, trying to use a huge explosion to get people's attention so that they calm down and listen, that's not what happens following an explosion. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the reaction that people have. They don't just suddenly go silent and stare. If you want that, you need to do something like surprising but beautiful, something that isn't hugely destructive and dangerous. If it's an explosion, people run. People assume the other side did it and keep fighting even more angrily because they think the other person blew up you know what I mean? Like, yeah, no,
that's totally fair and valid. I really think it's like the cartoon thing, like the first thing that you said. Like, it's a cartoon, and that's kind of the logic that they're following, basically.
Yeah. I also want to know where she plans to stand for them to notice her, because apparently dust is just her mortal enemy because nobody can see her if there's dust. And there will be a lot of that, Vivi, after this explosion. So you really need to find an elevated area and get out ahead of that thing this time. I can't have you making the same exact mistake a second time. Okay? Just, Vivi.
I know this dust is your model. Same. At least my apartment is like, oh yeah. Dust everywhere. And I'm just like, bitch, last week you were clean. And now you look like you're supposed to be in a horror movie set. So
there is nothing as rude as the fact that cleaning has to be done repeatedly.
Yes.
I just truly think that's like so unfair. I hate it.
Totally. How dare, really?
Yep, 100%.
So yeah, it doesn't work. Crocodile shows up with Miss. Oh my god, not Miss Wednesday, Miss All Sunday.
Right, cowgirl.
And the king. Well, the king is like tagged along. Well,
get it?
You want to call it? Oh my god! Did you make this I cannot talk anymore. Yeah,
oh god!
He's also tagged to the wall.
This is so fucked up, you guys. I was just so unprepared for this. Through the shoulders. Why is that worse?
I don't know. It is.
That's like, I don't know. That's somehow worse. Like, the hands, very awful. But I don't know, the shoulders, I think it's because there's so much movement located there in a certain, like, there's nothing to be done that isn't affecting that area, oh God, I could not handle this. This was awful.
Yeah, true. We also see Miss Olsande's powers again in action for a moment.
Right. She's got her hands going through the doors.
And it's like keeping from people to get back inside, basically. Like she's like, you don't come in here. So yeah, again, useful powers.
Yeah.
And we have like a talk between Vivi and Crocodile and also sort of Cobra. Of course, Vivi is like, "Where is Luffy?"
He tells her he's dead, and we have not seen Luffy. Like, now this is 3 episodes? This was 3 episodes of no Luffy. Then we had, is it 2 episodes of no Luffy previous to this? So we've had 5?
I think it's 6 because all you covered with Roy were 3 episodes, and there was, I think, no Luffy in those. So we really
it was 3 episodes that I covered? Oh, I didn't even realize. Okay.
I think.
Forgot.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fighting with Usopp and Chopper also, so that's also a reason why we decided to give you like 3 episodes at the moment. Not because we all love this arc, but it's a lot of fighting, and there's not necessarily so much to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, no Luffy for a long time now. Any thoughts? What's he up to? Or like...
I have no idea. Like, because what is the name of the woman that helped him out? Was that Miss All Sunday?
That was her. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because she's here now, but she also had that like weird gator mobile. I don't know. He got teamed up with Pern. What is his name? Pell. And Pell can fly, but I don't know how he was pretty injured. So I don't if he's able to fly, I feel like that could cut down their travel time significantly. But otherwise, I don't know how he gets all the way out here in time for anything. And even if he does, what can he do? Because he already got fucking crushed by Crocodile one time. Crocodile. Nah.
I didn't want to say it, but I was like... I mean, somebody in the group posted like some first pictures of Crocodile. He can be handsome. I can see why people would find him somewhat handsome. Not for me, but
he's got like a sleazebag quality that I don't like at all, but I know that quality can translate into hot in a way that like a lot of women respond to. It's always been a major turnoff for me, the sleazebag thing, but I can understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. But not saying he's hot. He's so hot. Excuse me. Yeah. So yeah, I can see it too, but it's just not my kind of type.
Yeah. Same. I think it's his hair that's slicked back. I don't like that. He looks greasy. You know, he looks like he needs a shower. I don't like it.
True, but yeah, he. Sorrow. I'm going to Bernadette is going off also about like how.
Bernadette says it's not the sleazebag, it's the competence. I mean, I understand that. I'm a big fan of competence, as you guys know from if you listen to anything that I cover. That's like that's a kink for me. But with him, it's like I'm so certain that he's going to be taken down at some point that it's hard for me to like completely let myself enjoy any sort of competence he's experiencing, because I'm just like, yeah, but your days are numbered, buddy. So, you know.
That's also fair. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's really, I feel like so far he truly is the best villain. Like,
for sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Totally there. like the other Along was also really great in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Nami's story, but yeah, Crocodile is like even above that.
Yeah.
And yeah, he starts to talk with the King Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't get a lot of this talk as far as I know. He asks him about the Pluton.
Yeah, which I'm assuming is like a plutonium thing. Like it's like nuclear weaponry or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially a myth as far as King Cobra knows. He's like, you're after that? I don't even know if that's real. I can't help you with that. And Crocodile's like, I low-key believe you. That doesn't mean it's not real. But you may not know about it, and I would be willing to accept that you don't know about it. Meanwhile, poor Vivi's off to the side going, wait, what? And I felt so bad because there's another thing that comes up later what's the second thing that he asks about?
The pornoglyph.
That's okay. And that's another thing that Vivi doesn't know what it is. And I honestly felt bad for her a little bit here. That she has like been laying it on the line for her country and really going hard. And it turns out like there's this whole fucking other thing happening that she doesn't even know about and had not been informed of. And I mean, I don't really know the circumstances of things, but I do wish that her father had like shared some of this with her before she departed. And I just felt bad. There's nothing like realizing that you don't know as much as your enemy in the moment. Like it's so embarrassing, you know?
Yeah.
So I really felt for her in these moments where she kept being like, wait, what's that? Wait, what's that? I was like, oh girl, I'm sorry. That is just really humiliating.
I get that. So you have any theories on those two things, the Pluton and the pornoglyph, like anything?
The Pluton, I just keep thinking of as like, Crocodile is a Bond villain who's trying to steal a nuclear warhead kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What's the other thing? Poneglyph? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, pornoglyph.
Okay. That I have no idea. Does he explain what that is in this episode?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Because he says with the Pluton that he'll basically be able to build an army. And this will be like, you know, a military force to be reckoned with sort of thing. Look, Chaka, you're a good dude. You're really trying. And most of the time you're getting it right. So I'm going to give you credit for that. But this fucking guy, Crocodile is standing there being like, I'm going to make this a military force to be reckoned with, my army. And Chaka says something like, your army? You're not the monarch here. Chaka, have you not been here for the first 2 episodes where he just talked at length about how he is usurping the throne? Guy, where have you been?
Mm-hmm.
Sir.
Yes. It's like, okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Chaka. Not my favorite character. It's not like that I actually have something against him, like that he's does something super bad, or like he's like, as you said, he kept like the position while everybody was gone. Like he was basically alone in this shit. So I have to give credit where it's due, but still,
For sure.
I'm kind of like, oh man,
yeah.
just like, yeah.
But yeah, the Pluton, I don't know what it could do. Like, because all I think of when I think of it makes me think of plutonium, which makes me think of like mass destruction weapons. Mm-hmm. And we haven't really encountered anything like that in this world at all. So I don't know if we're going to suddenly turn a corner and that's going to become a concern, or if it means something totally different. And it's more about like, is it something that like people can consume and get powers from? Or I really don't know what this could mean. because when he says that he could use it to like create an army, just making a weapon of mass destruction does not an army make. So how would that even work? I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. And considering that like the king himself, it doesn't believe Pluton is even real, where does that leave Crocodile? Like, and Vivi clearly knows nothing about it.
Yeah. So, there's a lot here. First of all, as you said, like, even if it's not real, Crocodile was willing to do all of this. You know, he's just like, and this is like, tells you a lot about him, I feel like, you know. And about Vivi not knowing, I don't know, or we don't know really, like, what the circle, she went off on this mission, let's say. We don't know how much her father really knew about this. Like, I feel like it was more like, you know, we have to get out now, or like she was like, doing this not with the permission of her dad, basically.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And how old I think Vivi is right now 16 in the story. Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea. I never stopped to think about it, actually.
I feel like she's supposed to be 16 or something. Like, when she left, she was 14 or 15. So basically, her dad was not like, so, my kid, let me tell you about this mass destructive weapon that we have down in the cellar. Like at the age of 15 or 14. Whatever, right. You know? That's not something that you tell your child, like, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I
feel like.
Although, like, look. That is true, but also Vivi is like the only family he has left. True. That's the one thing. Because like, if you're gonna have a monarchy and everything gets handed down and there's literally only one person that is potentially in line for it, you should tell them everything, even if you don't think they're really ready to hear it, because that's just good policy. But it's fine. You know, and again, he doesn't even think Pluton's real, so I could see him not telling her just because he's like, why would I? That's not real. It's fine. Yeah. The other thing, though, poneglyph. You just said it, and poneglyph. I'm like, I was like, I know it sounded like porn. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you will get the name later. Maybe then you will be like, oh, maybe I see your face, lady. That's kind of how these episodes end, I feel like, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And everybody's like regrouping. We don't know where Luffy is. The other Baroque Works people, I think everybody is accounted for in terms of like who has been taken out and who remains, because we see Miss All Sunday and Crocodile, and they're pretty much the only ones that are left standing as far as I can recall.
We have one left.
Mr. Zero isn't taken down, is he?
Crocodile is Mr. Zero.
Oh, right. Mr. One.
Mr. One, yeah.
He remains.
He remains with Zoro. Like, okay. Do you have... That's what I wanted to ask before, but didn't right away. What you have any predictions there, like how this will shake out between Zoro and Mr. One?
I don't know, because like the whole thing is that Mr. One, because he can turn himself into blades, it means that his whole body is as hard as steel, which means that Zoro can't cut through him with his swords like he would be able to with regular flesh. And Zoro's like, all right, well, easy answer to this is I learned how to cut through steel. And I'm like, is that the easy answer? Because like it feels like the correct answer, but whether that's the answer right now for your present situation, I'm not sure that's like possible. But he seems very confident, and when Zoro's confident, there's a reason for that, in my opinion. He has not shown me to be full of hot air ever. I just don't know how he does that. How do you learn how to do something like that? You're in the midst of a fight. This guy isn't going to stand there. I wouldn't expect him to stand there the way that Miss Doublefinger did and just wait for him to figure out a thing, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I genuinely don't. Like, I'm sure he will figure it out, but I don't know how he could. and how I don't feel like Mr. One is somebody who's going to play around and give him the time to do it. So yeah, I don't know.
That's fair. And yeah, that's like the only other person that is left.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I hope you're still enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you messaged me on Discord and you were like, have you watched the next episodes left? And you sent me like this emoji of like a nervous face. And I was like, what? Like, you got me so freaked out that this was going to be really terrible. And it was not. I just got really nervous though. I was like, because you gave me the impression that you were like, she might quit. This might be what makes her quit. You know, I was like, what happens?
Yeah, okay. On the one hand, I was like overreacting. On the other hand, I was just like, oh, I just hope like the Nami thing is like not too much. Like I know people that were like, okay, creating clouds and thunderstorms. That's too much. Like people were like being like, I'm out of here, like really quitting, but just that was like too much of craziness. And
that is a weird place to draw the line on this show, in my opinion.
Same.
Like it is weird and crazy and a little bit too much, but so are 95% of the powers that we see on this show. So I don't understand why this is the thing that people are like. We've got a man out here who's like he can make sandstorms.
A sandbender.
Sandbender. He really is, basically. And that's how he gets because like they're about to light the fuses on the explosives and he just like knocks all the dudes away with sand and like sends them flying. And I was like, rude again. He's just really rude. Bernadette says, how dare you can never quit. There are 900 episodes left. Jesus Christ. I keep forgetting how many there are.
Just enjoy the moment. Enjoy it.
Oh, completely.
Just
but
like
still
in general. Don't be afraid of the mountain that is before you, because I feel like it will, I mean, not just like to hype everything up, but it does, even here it will get better and better, so yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yay. All right, well, is there anything you want to say before we wrap this episode up?
Kind of the usual. If you want to see what I draw comics in my free time. You can follow me on Instagram. That is South.art, South.art, SAUF.art, A-R-T. And you also can like hit me up on Discord. And
join Discord, everybody.
That's right.
It's a place to be.
That's it for my end. Yes.
All right, cool. Well, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Florian, for joining me on this one. Very fun. Thank you, Bernadette, in the chat for your commentary. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I will be seeing you guys next week with new episodes. Until then, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye-bye.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.